Long ago, the families always took care of each other, even in difficult times. If family came and stayed to visit, you welcomed them and fed them. My great-grandparents practiced this way of life and took care of their young daughter and a granddaughter that they were raising. My mother was the young granddaughter, and she recalled one of the most unusual winters in their life. This was a hard winter, and a lot of relatives came to visit and stayed in this tiny house. So many people were crammed into this one tiny house, and it all got to be a bit much for her grandfather. One morning, her grandfather went outside to ready the wagon and started to load it with supplies. They hooked up the team of horses and drove off into the woods. The girls were shocked when they stopped in a coulee or a valley and set up camp. They set up a white canvas tent and took a small wood-burning stove and stovepipes into the center of the tent. This would serve not only for heat, but also for cooking. The grandma went with her hatchet and started to chop off the lower branches of the pine trees. She brought them in and made 2 beds on either side of the tent and covered the branches with lots of blankets. Then she started to cook supper. The tent became nice and warm. They ate their supper and crawled into bed, feeling full and warmed by the good food. They woke up to the grandfather outside with a broom, sweeping the snow off the tent ceiling and then the sides. Grandmother told them to stay in their bed and under the covers. Once the snow was swept off, grandfather started the fire and coffee was made and then breakfast was made. They lived in that tent in the woods all winter long. When I asked my mother why they stayed so long in the tent that winter, she replied, "Well, it was how my grandparents had grown up. But I also think that one of the family who came to stay was very hard to get along with and didn't pull their weight." Moral of the story: don't wear out your welcome and get up and do more than your share.